Hey, so before I started collecting guns, I used to collect airsoft guns, and this is one of the first airsoft guns I bought. This is a MEUSOC 1911, and it was made by Tokyo Marui. Right, so that was the box. Tokyo Marui's got some of the best boxes, and here is that gun. All right, so this is all plastic, a great airsoft pistol, and yeah, I fell in love with it, but when I started collecting guns, I kind of forgot about this gun. You know, I saw in video games and things like that, but it doesn't really get a lot of love on YouTube. So we're gonna talk about the MEUSOC 1911. So the MEUSOC 1911 was basically an upgraded 1911, right? Since World War I and World War II, Vietnam War, Korean War, we were using this 1911A1, you know, one of the longest serving service pistols that we had. And in particular, this one is a CMP 1911. It's a Colt lower with a Remington Rand upper slide, right? So this gun was getting a little bit outdated. We haven't made them since 1945. We had been replacing some of the slides, but the frames are, you know, they're pretty old, right? Now they're about 80 years old. Okay, and one of the options that most of the military went with was replacing it with a 9mm, the M9. Okay, but some special forces, especially the Marines, they needed something a little bit more capable than a 9mm. They wanted to stick with 45, but these were just not cutting it. They're a bit old. Okay. So here comes the answer, the M45 or the MEUSOC. The MEUSOC stands for Marine Expeditionary Unit and Special Operations Capable. Okay, so this was used by the Special Operations in the Marine Corps. Okay, so this is not a like the Tokyo Marui airsoft gun. This is not, you know, this is not a real M45 or MEUSOC. This is a clone. And this in particular is a clone of a like Gen 3 or a Gen 4 pistol. So they never designated anything as different generations, but this is a later pistol that they developed. So these pistols were custom made at Precision Weapon Systems in Quantico, Virginia. They were just the Marine gunsmiths, okay? And they produced them from around 85 to I think 2013. And in 2013, they got a commercial off-the-shelf option, which was the Colt railgun or the M45A1. So this one was used, this type of gun was used for around 20 to 30 years. Okay, so what makes this a MEUSOC? So obviously, it's the same gun as this 1911A1, but there's a few upgrades. First, they had a better trigger. This is one of these 3-hole triggers where you can adjust the take-up. A different style hammer. Instead of having a spur hammer, there's a commander-style hammer. The number one thing that really needs to be upgraded on the old 1911 are the sights. These sights are pretty low profile. Here's ones that have a higher profile. These barrels and the actual MEUSOC 1911s, they use Barstow barrels that were custom fit, and they would have pretty good accuracy. And then they upgraded the slides. So the slides, instead of using these old World War II slides, they upgraded them. They used some of the replacement slides, but then they started going for the Springfield slides. So having this Springfield Armory roll mark really is kind of essential to having one of these MEUSOC clones, or at least for the Gen 2, Gen 3, and Gen 4s. Okay? And then a lot of them would have this Packmeyer grip, this wraparound rubber grip, right? And this is also really kind of iconic for the MEUSOC pistols. So this is a economy sort of clone. Right, so you know, in this channel we're going to be talking about a lot of clones. You can spend a lot of money on a MEUSOC. So one route to go is to make one very, very, you know, very, very pricey. So you could buy a World War II 1911 A1 and then gut everything except for the frame and then start building your MUSOC, and that's gonna be quite a pretty penny. You can get a builder to do that and they'll source all the parts for you, but you're gonna be spending up to $3,000 to $4,000. And I love this gun, but I don't love it that much. I'd rather work on different projects or have different guns or something like that. Okay, so this is the economy model. So how do you make the economy model? First, you pick yourself up a Springfield loaded. A Springfield loaded is like 90% there, okay? If you want to have the right markings, the new Springfield loadeds are not exactly, they don't have the same sort of roll marks. Springfield Armory changed it. So you're gonna have to look for an older, maybe like 2000 to 2010 model. I think this one is from 2008, if I recall correctly. And then you're gonna have to make a few compromises, right? So the frame in this case is not a World War II Colt or Remington Rand frame. This is just the original Springfield Armory frame. It's the same profile and it looks the part. So anything functionally that was kind of the same as what they would put on the builds, I just didn't mess with, right? So the grip safety and the actual safety, they're slightly different profile than the ones that were used on the older generation MUSOCs, but because it's an ambi safety and it's an extended grip safety, like, I'm not gonna change it, right? The trigger is very similar to the trigger that they would put on the clones, and on these later ones they would use the same slide, and then they would have Novak style sights, which these are basically Novak style sights, right? What I did have to change on it were a few things. I did want it to look right, so I changed the mainspring housing. So the mainspring housing, I think it was flat on the original one, but it didn't have the lanyard loop, so I bought one from Casey Customs. This, let's see, serrated safety with a lanyard loop. I bought a few new magazines. These are Wilson Combat 7-round magazines. I got the Packmeyer grips. And then the barrel, instead of buying a Barstow barrel and getting it fit to the slide, I opted to just take the original stainless steel slide and get it blackened. And this company called Valor Precision, they did that for me for pretty cheap. I think it was like a little over $100, so not too bad. And the Springfield will come with a full-length guide rod. I've gone the shorter guide rod, and I changed out, I forgot what this part was called. This part right here. Well, I don't remember. The guide rod plunger, something like that, whatever the word is. It's not a plunger, but anyway. This part here, I changed it out, and I used Ed Brown guide rod and the Ed Brown, whatever this part is called. Okay, so that cost me around $700 to get the pistol, $30 for the grip, like $60 for this mainspring housing, $100 to get the barrel blackened, and then just a few other parts that are like $30 here and there and stuff like that. So altogether, like, I think like $200 or $300 to get it to look like this. And I'm pretty happy with this, right? So this is definitely an economy model. You can make this for less than $1,000 and it looks basically the part for an older generation MUSOC pistol. Okay, now I do like the way that the older generation, or the older generation, like the Gen 2 models look like, and I don't want to gut my 1911 A1, even though I have two. So I've decided that I'm going to build my own MUSOC pistol, and I'm gonna build a like Gen 2-ish model, right? So I'm willing to put a little bit of money in it because, one, I want the pistol, but two, I am also paying kind of for the experience of building my own 1911. So when I talk about building my own 1911, I have a frame. So this is a Caspain frame. This has been used by Precision Weapon Systems to make MUSOCs. So this is kind of clone correct. As you see, I've already inserted the magazine release on it, but I haven't done anything with this pistol yet. and I'm hoping to kind of document my build. Okay, so we start with a Caspain frame. This is not an 80% frame, this is a complete frame, so you still need to go to an FFL and, you know, do a background check and everything like that. So that's kind of the main part of the frame, and then here's the slide that I have. This is a obviously used Springfield slide. You can see that the slide serrations are slightly different than the one up there. This one's a little bit of a finer serration, and there's no front serrations. This is basically a older Springfield pistol that had been broken up, and all the parts were basically stripped from it, and they just sold it as parts. So there's no background check required for this because there was no frame. It's just all the rest of the parts. And it came with, you know, most of the parts. I have the other parts in the bag, but here I just want to show you the frame. And the barrel is a Springfield Armory barrel. Again, I'm not gonna go buy a Barstow barrel for like $200, get it blackened and fit it by a gunsmith, because that's just too much money to have, you know. I don't really care about the accuracy. I'm sure that this pistol is pretty accurate. But I'm gonna shoot it first, see how accurate it is. You know, I don't shoot pistol very well. And then if it, you know, if it lacks the accuracy I want, then maybe I'll opt to getting a Barstow barrel. But I can do that, you know, definitely later. Okay, so those are some of the main parts. I'm still procuring many of the other parts. I just have a bunch of random knickknacks coming. Here's a recent order that I made from Cylinder and Slide. Well, first, it's not Cylinder Slide, but this is Smith & Alexander. They sell a jig that allows you to cut the, I don't know what this is called, but cut the back of the frame to fit a certain safety. I'm gonna be putting a King's arm, not King's arm, King's something, a King's safety, I think, but it's gonna be a reproduction of it from Casey Custom. And then here's a few of the parts that I just got. And I'm gonna do like a full breakdown of all the parts that I'm buying for this pistol. Here is the iconic 3-hole trigger, the aluminum trigger. Here is a ejector, a plunger tube, and just a pin set, a newer pin set. So those are the parts I have now. I still need to get the hammer safety, grip safety, and mainspring housing from Casey Customs. I'm probably going to send my slide to Casey Customs for them to put the sights on. I just don't trust myself to remove this front sight. The front sight doesn't have a dovetail, and you're supposed to like peen it off or like rip it off, and I just don't want to do any damage to it. I'm gonna let someone else, a more professional person, do it and build the rest of the gun. I also have the Packmeyer grips, but I need to install the plunger tube and the ejector and the bushings on it, and then I also need to get this parkerized, and I'll have to do a little bit of fitting for the parts. But this is not a full 1911 build. I can still, I'm still, like, a lot of the parts are already fitted, like the barrel and the slide also fits on this frame very well already out the box. I don't need to do that much fitting for it. So this is gonna be kind of like a semi-1911 build. I've never built a 1911. All I've built is basically AR-15s, which is not really building, and then also an AK-47 or an AK-74. So this will be a kind of journey, and I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be pretty slow. So when I get new parts in, I'll start showing it off, and then when we get to actually building it, I'll try to document it. Because usually what I do is I kind of like this one, I just got the parts, I got so excited, I put everything together, and I didn't really document it, and it kind of, you know, makes me sad that like I can't see what it used to look like. I never took pictures of it, I never did a video of it. So I'd like to at least document it to see the journey of it coming from a bunch of parts to actually being something that looks pretty cool. So if you are interested in that, please subscribe. I'll be doing videos when I get new parts and getting, you know, building the actual 1911 up. And you can use this as a guide to kind of build your own, but I would definitely recommend looking on ARFCOM or AR15.com. They have a clone MUSOC build forum, and it's a pretty long post, but it's very detailed. You should also check out Casey Customs and Valor Precision. They'll help you build some of the parts or sell you some of the parts. So if you're interested, follow along, and please, you know, consider giving me a subscription. I'm at 100 subscribers right now. I'm trying to get to 1,000 so I can get in that partner program. I don't, you know, so I can make a few pennies here and there. But yeah, please subscribe if you are interested in this sort of stuff. And thanks for your attention, and thanks for watching. Take care.